Biggest mistake people make, particularly parents, is falling for the marketing hype from juice manufacturers. They want you to think their fresh orange juice is actually good for you. If you read the package, you'll see from concentrate, which could easily be translated to mean from syrup. Salt. Salt comes in the form of sodium chloride, two elements that combine to create something unique and useful to our bodies. While many have downplayed the need for salt, it serves the body in a number of key roles. Salt is vital to the extraction of excess acidity from the cells of the body, particularly the brain cells. Salt aids in balancing blood sugar levels. Salt is needed for the absorption of food particles through the intestinal tract. Salt clears the lungs of mucus plugs and sticky phlegm, particularly in those suffering from asthma and cystic fibrosis. Salt is a strong natural antihistamine. Salt can aid in the prevention of muscle cramps. Salt is needed in order to make the structure of the bones firm. Refined versus natural salt. There's a big difference between typical refined white table salt sold at the grocery store and unrefined sea salt. Traditional medical doctors, the media, and the food manufacturing industry seldom bring this up. First off, refined table salts often contain anti-caking agents, some of which are aluminum-based. Aluminum is linked with heavy metal toxicity and possibly Alzheimer's disease. Other additives, such as dextrose, a sugar, are used in iodized salt, salt with iodine added, to keep the salt from turning purple. Sodium silicoaluminate added to processed table salt is thought to be associated with kidney problems and mineral malabsorption. Sodium acetate, also added to processed table salt, may cause elevated blood pressure, kidney disturbances, and water retention. There are two common sources of salt: landmine and sea salt. Landmine salt from Utah, for example, contains about 98% sodium chloride, and the remaining 2% is composed of iron, calcium, and smaller amounts of aluminum and strontium. The sodium from landlocked sources or refined salts hardens and has altered molecular structure. This sodium often remains in the body long after it's done its job, causing joints to swell and kidney problems to develop. Unprocessed sea salt is about 78% plus 11% magnesium chloride and smaller amounts of magnesium and calcium carbonate. There are many trace minerals in quality unprocessed sea salt, such as Celtic sea salt, that are beneficial to your body, serving many important regulatory and nutritional functions. Salt and your health. Salt consumption, like carbohydrate, protein, and fat consumption, is surrounded with controversy and differing opinions from all sectors of the medical and healthcare community. The medical community generally believes that overconsumption leads to high blood pressure and increased chances of heart disease. Indeed, there are a plethora of studies to suggest this is true. However, most of the research on salt is done on refined salt, not on natural unprocessed sea salts. Renowned cardiac surgeon Richard Pulley, MD, doesn't restrict salt or saturated fat intake with his cardiac patients because he has not seen indicators that either cause problems. Dr. F. Batmangalodesh, a medical doctor famous for his groundbreaking work on water, recommends that we add a pinch of high-quality sea salt to each liter of drinking water. Roger Williams, a renowned researcher in the field of biochemical individuality, found a difference of more than 30% in the sodium content of blood cells among individuals, as well as a fourfold variation in salivary sodium. Because it's often our taste for salt that dictates how much we apply to a given foodstuff, it's important to note that Roger Williams' research found that taste threshold values varied between individuals over a 20-fold range. Consider these figures. In addition to William Walcott's research on metabolic typing and individual differences of foods and nutrients needed by those with differing primal pattern diet types, and it's easy to see why you can walk out of a medical library with your head spinning. Checkpoints for healthy salt intake. Use unprocessed sea salt. Celtic, French, and New Zealand are good sources. Due to pollution around much of the world, sea salts can contain mercury and other toxic heavy metals. Yet, New Zealand seas are considered some of the safest. Number 2, always salt your food after tasting it to avoid adding too much salt. Number 3, if you have a good diet of primarily raw organic produce and quality free-range animal meats, using a quality sea salt to taste will add nutrition for your bodily needs. If you drink adequate amounts of water, adding a pinch of quality sea salt to each liter bottle of water you drink will assist in maintenance of electrolyte and energy levels. If you salt your foods liberally or eat processed foods, salting your water may actually cause more harm than good. Athletes who experience electrolyte loss through sweating may find that using a quality sea salt on their foods and in their water improves energy levels. Becoming lightheaded upon standing due to low blood pressure is a symptom relating to low electrolyte levels. This can often be prevented by following the guidelines above. Water. Though water covers 2/3 of the earth, only 3% of the earth's water is fresh, and of that percentage, only 1% is accessible to humans. An interesting correlation between humans and the earth can be made with regard to water content. Almost 70% of the earth is covered by water, most of which is ocean, and humans are composed of about 75% water, our blood containing roughly the same salinity as ocean water. While water plays many key roles in our bodies, water's chief functions are to maintain a stable environment inside and around ourselves, allowing us to acquire sufficient nutrition and aiding elimination of waste in cells, to provide an optimal environment for life. The water we consume, through food and drink, must be clean and should supply the body with needed electrolytes. But is this the case today? Sources. Today we have a very unique situation. As living beings totally dependent upon Mother Earth for our survival, we have polluted almost every single water supply in the world. It's hard to find a municipal water supply not contaminated by agricultural chemicals. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has identified over 700 pollutants that regularly occur in drinking water, both from municipal sources and from water taken directly from the earth through wells or springs. The EPA monitors 8 inorganic and 10 organic chemicals, leaving approximately 30,000 possible hazardous pollutants without regulation. Due to the cost and time required to test for the vast amount of chemicals in our water supplies, we're left on our own to determine where to get safe water. The EPA also reported that agriculture is the biggest polluter of American rivers and streams, following more than 173,000 miles of waterways. Human and industrial waste discharge in agricultural runoff places a major restriction on the uses of available fresh water. 90% of the developing world's wastewater is discharged untreated into local rivers. In China, 80% of the country's major rivers are so degraded they no longer support fish. Many Eastern European rivers run yellow with industrial poisons. 300 million gallons of raw or partially treated sewage is discharged around England's coastline each day, and 2 million tons of toxic waste are dumped into the sea annually. The pollution in our waterways from industrial agriculture has become so bad that when people see a stream, river, or lake that's clear blue, they stop and stare because it's so rare. I recommend using a whole house filtration system to minimize exposure to heavy metals, chlorine, and other waterborne toxins. If it's on your skin, you're basically drinking it. So you want to make sure the water you bathe in is as clean as the water you're drinking. Dr. Martin Fox, author of Healthy Water, suggests the most healthy giving waters have a hardness factor of 170 milligrams or greater, and a total dissolved solids of 300 or greater. Many bottled waters will provide these statistics on the labels. Frequently, because of unfounded beliefs and fears of hard water or solids in water, you'll find that a number of the top brands are soft in comparison to these recommendations from Fox, as well as lacking in total dissolved solids. Don't worry, simply add a pinch or two of sea salt or a bit of clay, and both the total dissolved solids and hardness are likely to be well within the ideal range. Store water in a dark, cool area and in glass if possible. Never purchase water from smoky plastic containers because they leak all sorts of chemicals into your water. If you're consuming water from a plastic container, make sure it is clear and take extra effort to keep it out of direct sunlight. Consume water at room temperature. Cold water will sit in your stomach until it reaches body temperature. How much water should you drink? The Czech Institute has adopted Pt. Bangladesh MD's hydration guidelines. Dr. Bangladesh suggests that normal hydration to determine your body weight in pounds. Divide it by 2 and drink that many ounces of water each day. Body weight in kilograms times 0.033 equals how much water to drink in liters. For example, a 200-pound man would need to drink 100 ounces of quality water each day, possibly more if in hot climates or exercising. Again, he recommends a pinch of salt in each liter of water. If you don't salt your food, I've also found that many people have a hard time drinking adequate amounts of water until after adding some unprocessed sea salt. The sea salt, when just a pinch or two is added, can't be tasted but gives the water a nice mouthfeel. Most people also find that adding a pinch of sea salt to their water reduces the frequency of urination. Milk, juice, sodas, and coffee. We're designed to drink water, nothing else. In the past 10,000 years, raw milk became recognized as a nutritious food staple, as did raw, unprocessed fruit juices. Although I am not a proponent of processed milk and fruit juice, most mothers see milk and fruit juices as a staple food source. Americans today drink twice as much soda as milk and nearly 6 times more soda than fruit juice. This clearly demonstrates the power of advertising and certainly serves as a banner for the addictive powers of both sugar and caffeine, particularly when combined. Adverse health effects from displacing water with soda, pop, processed juice, or coffee include tooth decay, sugar addiction, caffeine addiction, insulin resistance, syndrome X, and diabetes. Increased chances of osteoporosis, increased severity of kidney stones, nervousness, insomnia, attention deficit disorder. Where to get good water? Supermarkets are loaded with water choices, but don't be fooled into thinking that because it's in a bottle, it's good for you. Many companies have been caught bottling tap water. Regulations of bottled water vary from state to state and country to country. Some of the top quality brands are Evian, Volvic, Vittel, Fiji, and Trinity. Water from an artesian well is ideal. Storage and packaging. How often do you shop? If your answer is the most common reply, once a week, here are a few important tips. Shop every 4 to 5 days. Once picked, produce quickly loses its nutritional value, especially conventionally raised products. An estimated 80% of the food in supermarkets is already stale. More frequent shopping will at least yield relatively fresher foods. Shopping at a farmer's market or a shop that sells locally grown raised products is ideal. Purchase fresh, certified organic foods whenever possible. Certified organic produce not only has a better shelf life, but according to research done by Aaron Fred Pfeiffer, it'll improve its nutritional profile for 7 to 10 days after being picked. In contrast, Dr. Pfeiffer stated that conventionally farmed produce begins losing nutritional value from the moment it's picked. Meats purchased fresh will last several days when properly refrigerated and will maintain good nutritional value when frozen. Remove only enough from your freezer to last 24 hours. If you live in a region with distinct climate changes and produce is seasonal, purchasing certified organic flash frozen foods will provide the best nutritional value and eliminate chances of pesticide exposure at the same time. Schedule your purchase of produce, dairy, and meats on the day that they arrive at the market. Check with the store manager for the days that they receive orders. Store food in glass or ceramic containers. Packaging foods in plastic wrappers and containers as well as in cans is risky business. A study performed in the UK found that 2/3 of canned foods contain low levels of the potent carcinogen and estrogen mimicking compound bisphenol A, BPA. A number of toxic solvents used to clean cans of various food containers prior to being filled may also be present. Similar estrogen mimicking compounds are found in plastics and can leach into your foods, especially when the plastic becomes heated, even just from the sun. These substances, particularly when we're repeatedly exposed to them, can damage our bodies. Use stainless steel, glass, or cast iron for cooking. Never heat or cook foods in plastic containers, aluminum pots and pans, or cheap cookware. Most non-stick cookware is lined with Teflon. Manufacturers would like you to believe that Teflon lining in cans, pots, and pans is safe and won't leach toxins. But here's a little test that will prove them wrong. Put a cup or two of water in a non-stick pot. The water should be about half an inch deep. Bring it to a boil and simmer for about 1 minute. Then add a teaspoon of baking soda. Remove a spoonful of the water and smell it. You'll likely smell Teflon, not a pleasant scent. When the water is cool, taste the water, but don't swallow it. You may be shocked to taste how nasty that water is after having only reached boiling temperature. Imagine what is happening when frying an egg, vegetables, or meat at double temperature. Microwave oven. When I ask my clients why they use microwave ovens, they invariably reply, because it's fast and it's easy. If your child was to say I've devised a fast and easy way to do my homework, or if I've come up with a fast and easy way to make money, what's your gut reaction? You'd probably think their plan isn't as good as it may sound and that they'll likely end up in some sort of trouble. That's the innate wisdom of a parent. Most doctors and therapists also begin to develop an innate wisdom with regard to what is and not health-giving. Some ignore it because their innate wisdom competes with their materialistic desires, yet others will investigate concerns. That is exactly how my investigation of the microwave oven and the food that comes out of it began. I recall being at my grandparents' home many years ago when my grandmother offered eggs for breakfast. She cracked a couple eggs open, scrambled them, and poured them into a microwave dish. A minute or so later, a bell rang, and she served my eggs. I was rather shocked, having grown up on a farm where I was never exposed to such technology. The first thing I noticed was the color was very light in comparison to the eggs I'd eaten before. I took a bite and was perplexed with the almost styrofoam consistency. I remember picking the eggs up, which was easy because they held a shape almost like a hockey puck. While I was several years from beginning my career in the health and fitness fields, my gut response was that something was amiss with microwaving food. As the years passed, I came to have a family of my own. My concern over the microwave lingered in the background, yet I too fell prey to the notion of using the microwave oven in order to save time. I was, however, continually reminded by the little voice inside my head each time an egg came out of a microwave. Then I read Robert O. Becker, MD's book, The Body Electric, which enlightened me to the potential dangers of even standing near a microwave. Once activated, they emit electromagnetic pollution of a greater magnitude than most electrical appliances. Listening to my inner voice and knowing that eggs should not have the characteristics of a hockey puck, I resolved to using the microwave to heat water while I stood at a distance. My concerns about the microwave made a quantum leap forward toward justification a few years ago when I began studying a nutrition course by a well-respected nutritionist and naturopathic physician in San Diego, David Getoff. In his course, he described some of the harmful effects of the microwave and raised a number of concerns, including the microwaves produced by microwave ovens damage the cell walls of food to such a degree that the gut receptors are not likely to recognize microwave food particles as food, resulting in an immune response. Microwave ovens heat foods from the inside out by the use of alternating current to produce electromagnetic radiation. This alternating current driven by microwave radiation reverses the polarity of the atoms, molecules, and cells of the foods or waters being heated 1 to 100 billion times a second. Atoms, molecules, or cells of organic systems are not able to withstand such a violent destructive power for any extended period of time, not even the low energy range of milliwatts. Microwave technology is used in the field of gene-altering technology to weaken cell membranes. Heating breast milk, even at a low setting, can destroy some of its important disease-fighting capabilities. John A. Kerner, MD, found that using the microwave to heat breast milk causes the milk to lose lysozyme activity and antibodies, as well as fostering the growth of more potentially pathogenic bacteria. Milk heated at a high setting, 72 to 98 degrees Celsius, lost 96% of its immunoglobulin A antibodies, agents that fend off invading microbes. As for heating breast milk using the low